Good day everyone and welcome to Exile News, the weekly show that brings you all the important news and informations on Path of Exile. And the first news we got this week has been the changes to the support pack badges. And as you can see here, you can see directly how it works. Basically, you will be able, in the future, when this update is live, you will be able to change your badges to actual badges as in squares with a drawing in it, which should take a lot less space. As you can see here, you have 6 titles and they are going to take like half the space. Hopefully they're gonna be a little bit smaller so you can fit like 4 per row, and that will make the forum much more readable. So for example, you have like a 1-word post here which is like half the page long because it has all of these titles, and this is one of the reasons why it's so annoying to read through one of these posts. And this is why I basically never skim through comments here, unlike Reddit, where you just can read pretty much everything straight away, and also you can collapse posts so you can see the ones that you are interested in much more easily. So hopefully this will help the readability of the forums by a lot, and it's also really cool, to be honest. I like these squares a lot more than these support titles here. So definitely improvements on all of the fronts by GGG, and we'll see how that goes when it actually gets live. Also, we are getting another part of the skill revamps. This time it's about Vaal skills. These skills have suffered from a very overpowered to underpowered use. Some skills like Vaal Spark, Vaal Fireball have been used a lot because they were so strong and could generate charges so quickly that they could actually become a main skill. Now GG is doing some changes which looks great to me. We see them right now to make this Vaal skill much better and much healthier, a much healthier choice for the game, if you can say that. So first up is the fact that Vaal skills also grant the regular version of the skill. So the way I see this, not sure if that's how it works, but basically you have a Vaal skill, you put it into your sockets and you can use the normal skill, and then you can choose to trigger the Vaal skill whenever you feel like it. I'm expecting this to work like, I don't know, detonating mines, where you have your own hotkeys to detonate a mine. You'll probably have your own hotkey to use the Vaal skill, and this is great because it allows you to put your Vaal skill in a 6 link normally, and you don't have to like sacrifice links to get your Vaal skill any useful. So that's very interesting. Second, unique and rare enemies now will grant you souls for the Vaal skill as they lose life. So longer fights, for example against bosses, will actually grant you the chance to use more than once your Vaal skill. And this is pretty good because most of the Vaal skills had to be charged beforehand and then used against the boss, and most of the times they were either irrelevant, so they wouldn't even do anything, or they will just kill the boss straight away. So this was not really good for the skills, and for the balancing it was really hard to balance. So they're doing this change where you can actually use the skill more than once on some bosses, for example even Izaro now, so that is pretty good. Also, Vaal skills will now prevent gaining Vaal souls for a short duration when used, and this is to fix skills like Vaal Spark and Vaal Fireball that have to be balanced against how many monsters they can actually kill in a short duration. So right now when you use a Vaal skill, you will not be able to gain charges from its effect basically. So this should help balance actually these skills, which is going to be good because they are definitely going to be increased in power. Also, Vaal skills no longer need a very high cost of souls because again you cannot charge them right after you use them. So this is also another thing that's going to be pretty good, which will also allow you to use your Vaal skills maybe more times per map. Also, you can use the storing of the souls are fixed to a skill and not to a gem, so you cannot charge more gems and then use like 4 times the skill, changing the gem in between. Right now you will have to just charge it again because it's fixed on a skill. If you use like Vaal lightning strike, for example, all of the Vaal lightning strikes you have are discharged at the same time, or you can actually charge one. It will depend how they do this, but still the thing is you cannot have more than one Vaal skill charged per time. And of course, Ancestral Call is not going to work, just like Multi-Strike and Spell Echo do not work. This is because at the moment duplicating Vaal skills just causes too many technical problems and balance problems to the skills. So also we got a couple examples. Sadly, the GIF that should be here about Vaal Lightning Strike is not working. It was the same for the last GIF on these forums. I'm not sure why, but I'm not the only one who's getting this problem. But anyway, Vaal Lightning Strike is now going to really create an orb on the ground or attached to the enemy if you hit an enemy, and this orb is going to repeatedly unleash cones of projectiles aimed at nearby foes. So even if the enemy is killed, the orb continues to fire projectiles, and this should be a much more reliable ongoing damage skills. We'll see how it works against bosses, because to be honest, you don't really need Vaal skills to clear packs most of the times, or rather any of the times right now. Due to the power creep, pretty much any skill can obliterate instantly any normal pack of monsters. So we'll see if they are effective against bosses. Vaal Arc is getting pretty much reworked, so it doesn't chain as much as before, but every time it chains, it splits, so you can actually hit many more targets much more rapidly, which is amazing for packs. Although it also applies a long duration high effect shock, which should be pretty good against bosses. So it has this duality where it works good against packs and it works great against bosses. Should make the Vaal Arc very strong. Also, both Vaal Arc and the regular Arc will deal more damage for each remaining chain, which means that the first few hits are actually pretty powerful, which are great of course for single target. Vaal Detonate Dead sadly is going to get changed. I mean, it was amazing how it worked, seeing all the screen explode, but it was way too overwhelming on the performances. It now creates a zone that pulses regularly. We don't really know the time, but still it detonates up to 8 nearby corpses, and if you can refuel the corpses, it will detonate with a much shorter delay. So it should be a pretty strong area damage, but it's a fixed area, so against bosses that do not move, it's probably going to be really strong. Although it's not going to make the whole world explode like it did before, and this should also make the Beyond boss actually not as scary as it used to be, even though it's still goddamn scary. Also, Vaal Stormcall is getting changed, as in pretty much buffed, since the normal lightning strikes that come down are going to do damage in an area of effect. So it's going to be pretty much like Rain of Arrows, where every arrow hits a circle around it. So this is how it's going to be with Stormcall as well. And also it's going to strike a fixed number of time over its duration, which means that if you use reduced duration, you will actually make it strike faster and gain damage. So this is because less duration support is always basically used with Stormcall, and if you are going to use the Vaal Stormcall instead of the Stormcall in your 6th link, for example, you will want it to be supported by the less duration support. And lastly, Vaal Double Strike, which pretty much got doubled in everything. So double the number of doubles spawned, double the duration, the number of uses it can be stored, base movement speed has been almost doubled, and it's a great skill all around. Also, there is no limit to the number of doubles you can active at once, and it feels like you can actually create a build much like the Mirror Arrow, Blink Arrow thing, where you just go with Vaal Double Strike, and it might actually be effective. And GG wanted this to be a thing because it's one of the very few autonomous ways to do weapon damage. So it's going to be, I think it's going to work. Someone will definitely try to make it work, and we'll see how that works very soon, if hopefully this will make it into the 3.3.0 update, which is not certain yet. Also, GGG say that there are new Vaal skills that are coming, and of course other Vaal skills that are receiving significant reworks due to the changes we saw right here. And the last bit of news we got this week has been the new build of the week, hot build Friends with Benefit. Well, it's again a mirror arrow, blink arrow build with traps, where you throw a billion traps and then you have these traps trigger mirror arrow and blink arrow, creating a lot of clones who then just wrecks any enemy. The only problem with this build is that it has low survivability, because you have to invest a lot in duration, minion damage, and reduced duration for your traps. However, deals a lot of damage, so it's about evading most of the hits while your clones do the job. It's a pretty interesting build. If you like this kind of builds and never done one, you can definitely follow the guide in the link here below. Of course, I put it in the description. And well, definitely works. You can also enjoy normal paint about this build. Other than that, that was all for this week. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and a comment down below. Also, if you want to remain updated every week, be sure to subscribe to my channel. That was all. I've been your host Giorgio, and I'll see you guys the next time.